We're going to go ahead and get started now. So if you need to grab something to drink or some snacks, food, do so now. Welcome to the EdTech Austin Meetup. Thank you all for coming tonight. This is a really great turnout, so thank you guys for being here. I'm so sorry that I don't have more chairs for those of you standing in the back. We'll try and break things up so that you're not constantly just standing. And we've got a really great program for y'all tonight. We have some excellent speakers, presenters for you. And so we're really looking forward to it. It's been a while since we've come together. Some of you I'm seeing for the first time. Some of you have been to the meetup before. So if you're new, welcome. If you've been here, welcome back. Let me, hey, can you, yeah. Okay. So, if you've not been here before, you're probably wondering, you might have some idea of what EdTech Austin is and what we do. My name is Sean Duffy. I am an educator, and I'm very passionate about EdTech. So that's why I, along with some very cool people, started this organization. With me is Stephanie Serta, who is a rock star educational technologist in Manor ISD. Also a Google certified teacher. Also, recently a master's degree holder
that's true.
in education, in ed leadership, right? So she is a total rock star in education. But the EdTech Austin Meetup is really for building community around EdTech, and so that's all of you guys. So we do have to do a number of thank yous because without sponsors, we would not be here. And so the first sponsor I'd like to thank is Capital Factory. They provide this awesome space for us, free to us and free to you. So thank you so much to Capital Factory for providing us the space. Also, the wonderful food and drinks tonight are provided by Wonderlab and Temp Keller, who you're going to hear from in just a few minutes. So very, very awesome of them to provide for the meetup. We have some kind of legacy sponsors, folks who sponsor us on a continuing basis or whenever we ask them. So thank you to Pearson, TeacherGraph, Texans for Economic Progress, Sapling Learning. And we actually are always looking for new sponsors. Really, even if it's just for name recognition, I will tweet about you, post on Facebook, tell my friends. So if you're interested in sponsoring a meetup, talk to myself or to Stephanie, and we are happy to do that. So tonight's scheduled events. We've got a lot to cover tonight, so we're going to try and fit everything in. I did it down to the minute, and I think we're even a little bit ahead of time.
Whoa,
we've got some time to spare. We're a little bit ahead, so that's good. We're going to hear from Temp and Wonderlab, hear about an awesome program that he has started here in Austin. We've got the folks from Manor ISD. Who's here from Manor? Raise your hand. Awesome. We've got some youngins. So they're here from the aerospace engineering class, and they're going to share with us what they're doing and kind of share with you all what they're doing with building rockets.
Yeah.
So it could be really cool. And then we have a couple of presentations for you from Volunteer Spot and Culture Booster. Our focus tonight being on getting involved and taking action in Austin schools. Following that, we have the lightning round. And if you're new and haven't been to the meetup before, the lightning round is an opportunity to the lightning round is an opportunity to speak for 1 minute about whatever it is that you're interested in EdTech. So if you have an EdTech company, you're hiring, this is just something really interesting you want to talk with our community about, that's your chance to do that. And then following that lightning round, we'll have open networking and discussion. The goal there is you share something really interesting about yourself or what you're doing, and then you can look to speak with other people for that hour-long, or roughly an hour of networking. Throughout the evening, you can tweet at EdTech Austin, hashtag EdTech Austin. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, and follow all of our sponsors as well. And as you'll see from our presentations tonight, you're probably going to want to go on and check out what they have going on, whether it's in Manor or with our awesome local EdTech companies. Okay, So some announcements. Before we get going, I do have some announcements and action items. Lightning round sign up. Sign up if you haven't signed up for that. Do that now. Meetup.com. Check in. Tell us about it. I think we have like 10 reviews so far. So give us a review. Let us know what you think. I already have one person who shall remain nameless, who didn't like the subs or thinks we should do other stuff, which is totally fine. It's okay.
I think we'll get reviews tonight about not having beer.
I know, yeah, that's true. Just so you know, we normally do have alcohol, but because of the students who are here, we wanted to respect that. So come next month and we'll have some drinks. Okay. Also follow us on Facebook. When we do introductions, I want you to introduce yourself to your neighbor and follow them on Twitter, or maybe get recommendations from them who to follow. We have a blog. I've only really done like 2 blog postings, so we'll do one after tonight's event to kind of follow up from the lightning round. Okay, I want to announce STEM Ed Labs. Some awesome guys, Rapal Nathuji and Sagi Zisman. They started this nonprofit focusing on getting more computer science education classes. It's actually when we did the town hall in March, in February, they took a lot of the ideas from that. They applied for and received a grant from the KDK Harman Foundation to provide this STEM Bridge program. So if you have students of your own, or if you know a school district that is in need of more computer science education, it's a really great 4-week summer program. Last time I talked with them, they need a logo and they need a person to teach the second 2 weeks of it. So if that sounds like something that either you're interested in personally or you know somebody, drop us a line through any of our social media, or send me an email or send Stephanie an email. They're a really great organization. It's free for students to do it. It's just a really, really great program. So that's happening. Stephanie, will you tell us about Playdate?
Sure. So Playdate is this Saturday. It is like an unconference. How many of you are familiar with the whole unconference ed camp movement? Okay. So it's pretty much like that. Basically, very free-flowing day of professional development. It's all student-led, and you'll get to explore apps and tools for school use, led by students. So it's at Decker Elementary on Saturday at 9 a.m. Right, 9 a.m., Allison?
8 o'clock is going to be like check-in and like we're serving breakfast.
So 9 a.m.
Yeah, so
it's Saturday.
Students are serving
Right,
breakfast.
so if you are interested in learning about how to use the tools in the classroom, then this event is for you. If you have a tool that you'd like to kind of throw out there, this event is also for you. So anybody with a vested interest in education and technology, it's free. It's from 9 to 12, Decker Elementary. You can find out more about it at iteachmanor.org.
Cool. All right. And so with that said, I really want to talk to you guys about EdTech Action, and I have 3 minutes because I just checked my phone and that's how much time I have. So I did this at like 2 in the morning a couple of nights ago because I was really thinking about this idea of EdTech Action and how as much as we come to the meetups and we talk about like really cool things, all these events that we just shared with you and like connect with us on social media and all that stuff, sometimes life gets in the way. So I was thinking about it, and I think the process is we have these really great ideas for education or for our own passions or whatever it is, and then things kind of get in the way, and you're like, oh, well, I have to do this and I have to do that, or I can't make it to Playdate on Saturday because whatever. But these things pile up, and they occupy all of your time, so that whatever that good idea was, or whatever that like really inspired thing that you wanted to do, kind of like gets shoved off to the wayside. So I thought about this, and I've gotten into coffee in the last couple of years, and I love coffee. I mean, like, I drink a lot of coffee now. I actually try and limit myself, but I have like 1 cup a day. But I found that like there's this really cool thing with coffee, and it's not something it's not new. I mean, people have been getting coffee with each other for a long time. But I started realizing that like all of these networking opportunities that I've been doing, like meeting with people and talking with them, trying to promote whatever it is that they're doing through social media, Facebook, Twitter, it's really starting to catch on. And I know that it's because Austin is just, I mean, as evidenced by you all being in this room, there is such great opportunity when we collaborate and we work together and we use those channels for communication. And what I found is, I mean, I'm even seeing people in this room tonight that I know I've had coffee with. Nina and I had coffee a couple of weeks ago, and I was connected to her by Michael Barnes, whoever he is. Michael, they're sitting right next to Nina. All right, there you go. And it's just really this cool thing. And so what I thought about was, we need to be doing more of this. And I know that life gets busy and like we all have things going on, but reach out to each other. Use EdTech Austin as a way to connect to each other and to connect to what's most important. And honestly, you know, we have really great students here tonight, and that's what it's all about, is finding ways to do education better. And honestly, like seeing you guys here tonight makes me realize that that's totally possible. So I just wanted to kind of say that to set things up. I had a bunch of other things that were supposed to show up and they're not showing up, but that's cool, I don't care. Because you're gonna hear from Karen, is Karen here? Okay, hey. Karen and Geraldine are going to talk to you about their really great ways to bring that community together. And so I hope you will take note of that. Find time for coffee with each other. Use the network that we've created. Use us. I mean, reach out to us, let us know. I started a page and it's really very rudimentary, but if you have an event and you want to get more exposure for it, let us know. We'll put it on the website and we'll do what we can to promote it so that you can, you know, have people participate in all the great things you're doing. Okay, so that's my pitch to you. That said, I would like you to take a moment, introduce yourself to a neighbor, follow them on Twitter, and maybe even set up a coffee date. So do that now, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Let's just do that tour right there.
Bring everybody back together. So, without further ado, Tim Keller is new to Austin, so I hope. Actually, you're not that new. You've been here for
2.5 years now.
Okay, so he's actually been in Austin longer than I have. But anyway, so Tim has Wonder Lab, and he's eager to share that with you. So with that, Tim, take it away.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for the eyes and ears. As our logo suggests, Wonder Lab is all about asking really big questions that lead to inspired answers that often, in turn, lead to more questions. So the first question that I started asking myself years ago that drove this was, why is it that the longer we educate kids, the less motivated and engaged they become? And look, I always say data will get whatever you tell it to tell you, right, or want it to tell you. But Gallup did a pretty, and has done this for years, where they literally ask 500,000 kids relatively simple questions like, are you engaged? And here's what we see. From 5th grade, nearly 80%, and then by sophomore year in high school, nearly 40%. So Wonder Lab started, and really the idea that is at the core of this is, what if we could build an organization entirely around that question of what would motivate an individual learner to love learning? We weren't yet thinking about scale, and we're just, how could we do that? How could we build a model that would get at that? And that led me to some core beliefs that I really believe we keep, and quite frankly, as you'll see in a second, I've been working my entire career really to kind of think more at kind of the national level. How do we fix this? How do we reform education? When I've really started thinking more and more that really the best person to fix education is the individual learner, because we are all unique learners. And yet, as much as I love so much of what I see going on in a lot of schools, I see this decided focus on knowing. And in an age where kind of doing and becoming those more individual things are so much more important. So this led me to a deeply personal question. Am I actually going to be, and I always joke, am I going to be crazy enough to start a school? And I say that with all respect, because I've been in and around a lot of schools, and my answer was no. but let me tell you why, because it was a little deeper than that. Because I taught 5th grade straight out of college, and I spent nearly a dozen years building a nonprofit that worked to retain really good, effective teachers in low-income public schools when I saw the most talented teachers leaving. And then I spent a year in EdTech, and I said, God, I think I need to be crazy enough to start a school. And then I read what one of my friends had written, and pardon more buzz language, but I thought she was right, that starting a school in a way really is anti-lean startup when you think about it, because usually you're taking 2 years to plan this huge thing, this school, and make big promises to families and kids, and then boom, on day one, you open this school, this uniterated, this untested, but hugely capital-intensive model. And so I was gun-shy, quite frankly, to start a school, so I cheated. I went to the Acton Academy, and Anna Smith is here in the audience tonight, one of the phenomenal mentor guides from the Acton Academy. If you don't know Acton, you need to know more about them. But I was the entrepreneur in residence at Acton, which meant I got to cheat. I got to be, and what I am convinced is one of the most exciting schools in the country, if not the world, but without starting one. And then I said to myself, you know what? It was actually this. It was this op-ed in the Wall Street Journal written almost 1.5 years ago, but this woman who was homeschooling her kids, I thought nailed it. She said, with each passing year, the division between homeschooling and institutional schooling will continue to dissolve. right? And she called it Rome schooling, R-O-A-M schooling. And I called it inspired. Start a school because 10 years from now, when all these ed heads are, and I say that lovingly too, are successful, we're gonna have stuff that does one-to-one really well. And maybe it is more like Rome schooling. Maybe that's the future that I need to kind of build towards. So back to the heart of Wonder Lab, I saw this immediate opportunity. Acton right now is about $10,000 per kid per year, which is relatively affordable as far as private schools go, right? But I thought maybe there's an intermediary between a private school that as soon as you get into people and buildings gets expensive versus say doing it all on your own, homeschooling. What would the logical intermediary be? Well, I think that is Wonder Lab. So, okay, is essentially a membership-based model that we've set up initially for upper elementary and middle school kids. Back to that Gallup slide. That's when kids are really tuning out. So that's where we've started this and we're focused. Think of us honestly as a Sylvan or Kumon, but instead of test prep or tutoring, we're really focused on kids getting to know their unique strengths and then develop skills around their passions and become these inspired lifelong learners. Which leads you to then to the question of, okay, how? Yet again. So here we are. This is Wonder Lab. It's actually the ground floor of this. So 915 square feet in West Austin, we've got this great little learning lab going. So when a kid walks into Wonder Lab, this is what they see. So beyond, again, the buzz term of individualization, personalization, it really is, welcome to Wonder Lab. And we talk about this kid. What have you already learned to know? What have you already learned to do? What have you already learned to be passionate about? And then we ask them, what do you want to learn to know, do, be? If you could do anything in the world, if you could know anything in the world, and it gets really fun. And the bigger idea is that we're going to take them through a series of exercises that I, with Acton's blessing, have totally begged, borrowed, stolen, right? The way anything good happens in education. And we're going to take them and we're going to get to know who these kids are. And they're going to come up with their own inspired hypothesis. So for example, it's been a kid who's come in and said, I'm a gifted video gamer and I'm in flow when I'm playing a good video game. And I think it's an injustice that all these adults and my parents are saying the games are bad. I think games are great. And I see, in fact, an opportunity to build a game that doesn't exist yet. So because we're all about questions at Wonder Lab and we're never answering kids' questions, my question for this learner was, that's the whole idea here. We think that the future of learning is have a mentor guide who can walk alongside you and put together that personalized learning playlist. Oh, there's GameStar Mechanic, there's all these other cool resources. Let's use it, and you figure out how to do this. And that's where the real learning happens. So we do this thinking that if kids are more deliberate learners and they're more inspired learners, they're going to be more effective learners. And we do this again on a membership plan. My goal is this needs to be essentially a car payment, right? This is a car payment that a middle income family can afford, $200. We already have scholarship dollars lined up to make it cheaper because we don't want to price any kids that want to do it out of it. The way that you guys can help, beside again being so generous already with your eyes and ears, we need Wonder Lab learners. I mean, we just launched this thing all of 4 months ago in January. So we've already got a dozen learners. We've got a lot more lined up for the summer. We're doing something fun called Summer Quest that you can learn more about on our website, wonderlablearning.com. But I was so excited to get this opportunity because we need mentor guides, right? We need interesting lovers of learning, inspired learners yourself, and just the fact that you guys are spending your spare time doing this is a pretty interesting self-selecting mechanism. I won't call you nerds, I don't want to offend anybody, but you know, you're here because you love learning, you're interested in this stuff because you love learning. You might be a great fit for a mentor guide. You can literally work with a Wonder Lab learner, and mind you, again, back to that membership page, some of them we're just having a touch point with a mentor guide literally every other week for an hour. Or we've got some kids that are meeting with their mentor guides a couple times a week. We've got kids that are meeting only in the lab. We've got kids that are meeting on via FaceTime because they're out in Steiner Ranch. But we're looking for really great people, interesting people that are excited about this and are, of course, excited about this. So if that's you, please come up to me after we're done here, and also please check out wonderlablearning.com. Thank you.
Any questions for them? Do you want to take questions?
Sure. Yeah, I didn't know if there was time.
What's your Twitter address?
What's that?
Twitter.
My Wonder Lab. Somebody had already taken Wonder Lab. Yeah.
You mentioned that you provide that individual attention and you want to inspire a hypothesis or get the student to be an inspired hypothesis, and then when they ask you the question, can I do this? And you say you can. Do you provide resources? Do you provide further mentorship or startup venture capitalist funds? What do you do to help them build that app?
Yeah,
for example?
Absolutely. So again, kind of 3 stages where we have some curriculum that we've either begged, borrowed, stolen, or tweaked,
Right.
is on that kind of light the path, get them to that idea that they're so inspired about.
Mm-hmm.
But then in that middle stage, the guided journey, we're curators. Right? So we are literally there to begin with them to look and find the resources that we can find online. We're there to look and find offline projects. Again, the more and more we do this, we'll of course have this kind of cool suite of resources that we've checked out or that other kids have used, and that's when it gets fun, right? We've got hundreds of Wonder Lab learners, and then there's all of these, well, actually use this, don't use that, this worked for me, that didn't. Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any, it sounds like most of it is computer-based, so, some of us still actually like doing things, making things with our hands, and,
Yeah.
Encourage that in the real life. So how does that component fit in? I'm sure there's a piece of that.
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked, and forgive me if I gave you guys the impression that it's all computer-based. Again, we're in this lab. We've got the only reason that we have mentor guide connections via FaceTime is because as I was business planning, I had so many parents say, just get me out of the car, please, right? I don't want to have to come to one more place. And so yet we've got homeschooling families that say, thank you, like you're a place that I can go to, right? Because let's be honest, a lot of parents are essentially hiring schools for that custodial function, right? Watch my kid and keep my kid safe. So a lot of these homeschooling families have signed up for our most, our kind of small, medium, large plan because they're then saying, wow, this is a place where, and they're not doing anything online. So literally, again, it's totally learner driven. And again, our N is 12 kids right now, but literally the resounding majority of everything they're doing is in the lab in person. Yeah.
How does your model, does it at all account for student collaboration? Or is it all student and mentor?
No,
Instead of student to student?
It is, and that again is what gets us so excited about the future of the lab. The reality of the lab right now is with 12 kids in a whole week, we're just kind of getting to the point where there's some overlap and kids in the lab at the same time. But that's why we specifically went after getting 1,000 square feet, is so we could have anywhere from 12 to even 20 kids in the lab at the same time and bumping shoulders with one another. What are you working on? What are you working on? Yeah.
Speaking of the kids, where do you see the students actually becoming the mentors for the process?
Yeah, no, thank you. That's awesome. That's why you guys need to check out actonacademy.org, because that's a big part of the Acton idea, is that we can get kids to ultimately, the bottom line is we too cannot wait to get there. That we have this learner that's been through this process and is ready to just start asking the questions of other young learners.
Okay, one last question, then if you hang out afterwards.
Yeah,
you guys
absolutely.
How do you measure learning outcomes?
Honestly, the short answer and the honest answer right now is not well, right? Completely anecdotally. We are, like I said, we're essentially trying to say if you're more deliberate and you're more inspired, you're going to be a more effective learner. But literally, we're just sending a Survey Monkey at the end of each month that a kid is in Wonder Lab, and we're just asking that simple question of, on a scale of essentially 1 to 10, how inspired were you in Wonder Lab this month? And then, just asking for their feedback. So we're really following that keep it simple, stupid rule at this point. But ultimately, we want to think about how we could really get our hands around a more tangible measure of inspiration and effectiveness.
All right, well, Tim will be here after, so if you have any more questions, let's give him a round of applause. Let's take a quick break. I promise you, if you have to go to the bathroom, your seat will be there when you get back.
Oh,
I can't promise, actually. There are some folks who are waiting outside, and I want to try to find a way to get them in. So if that means we have to move forward a little bit more, we can kind of squeeze up. We'll make that happen, and the Maynard folks are going to get set up. So take a break, grab something to drink, and we'll be right back.
I tell them not to trust the
Okay. Well, I'll put you in touch with them. If you send me an email,
I suggest that they're probably
I think we're talking about that.
yeah. Anybody it's good about
I'm sure all of you have to talk with you about it. Okay. Hey, are you all ready? Stephanie.
lightning talk.
I'll take right now.
All right, if we can have everyone head back to their seats, please.
We have 2 extra seats up front. If somebody wants to come up and grab them. We have 2 seats up here.
All right, let's go ahead and get
All right, y'all. Yes, I did. Okay, so we're really excited to talk with Manor students who are working in aeronautical engineering.
So I'll give you guys a sort of a little spiel on them. So I'm Stephanie Serta. I work at Manor ISD as an innovative teaching strategist. I'm a huge proponent of all things student-led and really propelling student voice. And so when I heard about this going on at Manor High School, and this really cool project that these students are working on, and I heard that they needed help, I immediately thought to invite them here to EdTech Austin so that we could not only get to hear about the cool things that they're doing, but together I was pretty confident that they would be able to leave here tonight with some support, and hopefully some of you guys will get involved. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to the aerospace engineering class at Manor High School and their teacher, Mr. Will Davis. You guys go for it.
Okay, so we are in the aerospace class or club at Manor. Some of us are from 2 different periods. There's 4th and 5th. If I blush, you guys please don't laugh at me. I turned red really fast. And so we're just here to talk to you guys about the class, about what we do, and about how it's going to help us later on after we graduate, because we are all seniors. So why would basically be, we wanted to do this because it seemed like fun, for one, and it was just going to help us. It helps us every single day when we get to class about working with other people. Sometimes you don't want to work with them, but we have to, because, you know. And it just brings every single thing outside of school into one class, and it helps you just learn about sponsorship, about people you need to talk to, like presentations, how to go about everything. And it's really fun to just be able to do this in maybe less than an hour every single day, to just have fun with each other and do outside skills in one class. So in the class, we are asked to do 4 rockets. So we have 2 trimesters where we do 3 model rockets for fun. We just blast them off, see how we're working with it, and work with the different tools. And then we have our final project, which is recent, or we're working on it right now.
Yeah, mature rocket.
Yeah. And that's pretty much what the class is made up of. And then, so, here's something about the goal.
I can talk a little bit about the goal. Basically, our goal with our rocket is, well, we have to construct it from basically parts that we get around either the internet or any other sources that we can come by. The idea is we need to build a rocket, and we have to get it to be able to go 1 mile in the air while carrying a 1-pound payload. Now, why we're doing this is so we can learn about the complexity of what rocket engineers basically go through when it comes to calculating weight, distance, all of those other variables. We get to learn firsthand what they do.
So while we're working on the rockets, we have to work on team t-shirts. So that's our
So basically our t-shirt is gonna have our name, well, our individual name, aerospace, Manor High School, and a rocket on it.
They have to be worn on launch day because we don't want to get lost. There's going to be 10 different rockets going up 7 different schools the day that we're going. So the cost is actually very high. So that's why we came to y'all today asking for support, because we really want to keep this thing going as long as we can, because it's very amazing. So rockets, the parts that we get offline or off the internet are about $2,000, almost $2,000 for our rocket only. And then we also have a second class, which is also another $2,000 just for their rocket. And then team t-shirts can go anywhere from $300 to $400 depending on where you get it, what you put on it, color and everything. Some tools like saws, blades, and all that stuff that I don't work with because I'm pro. Yeah, go for about $400. And then the launch site, which pays for both of our classes to launch, is about $3,000 on its own. And that's for the paramedics to be there, for like for a lot of important people to be there just for us. So the school pays approximately $5,300 just for one class to do this. And it's a really amazing thing to be able to do. So we're just asking for anything y'all can give us, anything helps. And extra information, if y'all decide to donate to us, checks or cash can be made out to Manor High School Aerospace Club. Or you can email our teacher, william.davis@manorisd.net. The launch date, if y'all would like to come out to just see the rockets yourself, is May 17th through the 18th. Ours is going to be on the 18th. And it's going to be in Fredericksburg. And that's a site, if you want to go to Systems Go, you just look up the rockets launch dates. So, yeah, that's basically it. Thank you. Any questions?
Let's give them a round of applause first. So, questions?
I have one real quick. So if I decide I want to sponsor you guys, is there something that I get in return? I'm just saying.
If you donate to an educational cause, I believe you're able to write it off on your taxes.
We will put your logo on our t-shirt, and we have to make a YouTube video about our rocket, so we can either include you on the shirt or the YouTube video.
There you go.
Or put you on the rocket itself.
Or at least a pound of it.
Right over here.
Thought about maybe doing an online campaign. Might be easier to raise that money. There's lots of resources out there that you can use to raise that money.
Well, we would, but it might actually take a lot longer than what we were expecting. So this was a very short and easy way to just ask for it in general. I know it's like wrong to say that, but
for next year maybe.
Yeah, for next year I would totally go into that because it was very fast. All this kind of just happened all at once. So yeah.
Have you already launched any, or is it?
He's actually been in the program for a while, our teacher. So he's launched a lot more, not just our class. But yes, there's been a lot of launches before us and a lot of rockets that shot up that didn't go or went, and so yeah, he's done this for a while.
I have a question on the other side over there.
What time do you launch on the 17th and 18th?
That will really vary. Schools will get there early in the morning, and then as soon as they get through their checklist, their safety checklist and all that, we'll be approved for launch. So it's very variable.
You'll have to get special military clearance for that, shooting that high up into the.
There is FAA clearance, and that's one of the reasons for the high field.
Sure. That's not just your everyday.
No, you can't just go out and back.
Rocket in the backyard.
So I'm kind of interested in the rocket. What's your payload on your rocket? And I like for the guy in the red shirt and the guy in the sweatshirt to answer it.
We're using
What?
BB gun, like the BB
BBs?
Yeah.
What do you know what the payload is for the other period that's shooting the
We're using
rocket?
a pound of little Debbie's.
You're launching Little Debbie snacks 1 mile up into the air. Have you thought about approaching them for sponsorship?
They didn't get back to us.
Maybe you should try Oreos.
You know, you have a good idea there. I think it's a little like that.
Do you have an altimeter or something in the rocket?
Yeah.
What's it called? The Congress Bay? Is that a China Bay?
No, it's
No, that's where it goes. Ours is Stratolyzer. I don't know which one y'all use. I don't know what altimeter level.
And also, how big is it? Just
Ours is
Actually, ours is about 9
approximately
feet.
9 feet.
9 feet tall.
Ours is 6 feet. Yeah, how much does the rocket itself weigh?
Well, we don't. It's around 7 pounds. I think one of my friends checked that one. Yeah.
Mine is 9 pounds.
Yeah, without the motor.
7 pounds. How about the previous ones? This is your final project. What about the ones that?
Oh,
The previous ones were just yeah, we just got some cardboard to put a solid engine in. Most of the time, it just went.
What is the engine? How's the engine work?
It's a hybrid motor.
Well, we're using a type. Well, as he said, we're using a hybrid motor. What it is
From a
basically.
Prius?
Maybe I should say hybrid engine. That would make a little more sense. Basically, what it is, it's basically a gas tank, and what they use for the fuel is, I believe, nitrous oxide. Yeah. And the way it works is they'll fill it up on site, so they have professionals handling that. No, don't worry, we're not filling it ourselves. Once we load the engine into the rocket, they're going to fill up the tank with nitrous oxide. They're also going to add some, I believe, liquid fuel, like liquid oxygen, and that's what's going to combine together and create propulsion.
So is this motor, or engine, is that used by many different groups? Or is it?
It's one of the more common types. If you're going to use a solid state engine, you actually have to have a pyrotechnics license.
Just a real quick question, just out of curiosity, what's the circular landing range on this set?
I believe it was like a
1,000 meters.
1,000. Yeah, 1,000 meters.
Okay. So you gotta pick a calm day.
Hopefully.
Well, that is definitely part of the problem, is getting it to recover within a certain area. That's another problem they have to figure out.
Okay.
Can you put a Wi-Fi finder?
Well, they do have a solution. How do y'all plan on getting it to land within a close diameter?
Well, yeah. Well, the altimeter basically ignites a little charge that deploys the parachute, and we're gonna be programming the altimeter to basically deploy when certain properties are met, like maybe upon descent, it'll release the charges, and hopefully the parachutes. I mean, the ones that the guy who was in charge of the parachutes, his parachutes, he said that they should be able to not. They shouldn't be too big, so they wouldn't be drifting off into oblivion. So, yeah. But he said basically they should be the right size so where they'll land within that 1,000 meter, 1,000 meter circle.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, well, let's give them another round of applause. Thank you guys. Okay, so we'll take one last quick break, and we have Karen from Volunteer Spot who's going to be presenting. So, Karen, if you want to come on up. All right, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Good luck. Hope you guys get it.
Oh, really?
Please Okay, so our next group to present, Volunteer Spot. If you don't know what Volunteer Spot does, you're certainly going to learn from Karen. But they're a really great organization, and I hope that in some way you can find some way to be involved with what they do. And with that, I'll turn it over to Karen.
Thank you so much, Sean. Hey, it's great to see this group growing. Gosh, thanks for turning out tonight. Just so I can just calibrate a little bit, how many of you are educators? And of the educators, how many are K-6? How many are 6-12? That's a half and half, okay. And then how many of you are startups? Awesome. And how many of you are established or just interested in EdTech, other things? Great. Okay, so broad variety of interest here. Super helpful. All right. So one more. How many of you have used Volunteer Spot or heard of Volunteer Spot? Handful. Good. Glad to hear that. All right. So what Volunteer Spot is we're the leading online coordination tool that helps people everywhere coordinate, sign up, schedule, remind people for the causes they care about. In education, we're used primarily for parent-teacher conference scheduling and classroom helpers in lower grades, and we're used for projects and other things in upper grades, which I'll talk to you about in a minute. The topic today was about community action, and the thing that we work on quite a bit in Volunteer Spot as part of our mission is boosting parent participation in schools. And so I do want to share pieces of an infographic that I put together quickly from a study we did last summer with We Are Teachers. And so what we did is we looked at parent volunteering in the classroom, and We Are Teachers surveyed 1,000 teachers, and we surveyed 1,000 parents to find out what do people want in terms of parent volunteering in the classroom? We surveyed K through 12. The bulk of our responses were K-6. It's not a surprise for you high school teachers. You're like, get the parents out of here. But what was very interesting is what we learned is that people want the same stuff. Both parents and teachers were in agreement that it's good to have parents involved at school. It's good to have parents involved in the classroom. And there's value in getting parents engaged. Okay, and that value is parents know what we're doing, they're involved in education. When it comes time to vote, they vote for bonds, they vote for stuff, our kids do better. Now, there was a big gap though in how we pitch in. Parents wanted to do the parties and the field trips, and teachers are like, dudes, we need help. We need help with reading centers and homework centers and math stations. And I know an elementary school teacher right over here that's like, yeah, that's my life. And so teachers needed help with learning stuff, and parents wanted to help with fluffy stuff. And fluffy stuff is okay, but it's not where we needed the help. Oh, goodness. Okay, there we go. And so we also looked at the majority of teachers said they didn't get parent help when they need it and where they need it. And the majority of parents said teachers aren't asking me for help. That's a big disconnect, right? Okay, so the teachers want the help and the parents aren't being asked to help. And what we learned is that 64% of teachers were asking parents to help by sending notes home or putting out broad calls for help. Parents wanted very directed requests. Tell me where you need me, when you need me, and I will be there. And they wanted help. They wanted to be asked through email or online. They didn't want paper coming home. 73% of parents who don't volunteer cite work conflicts for volunteering. And what teachers said is, we can work around your work schedule. There's some fantastic teachers up in Plano, and maybe some of you guys are doing this, that are using Skype and FaceTime to bring parents into the classroom to read to the class or help with math stations and learning stations and things. So they're like, hey, we can work around your work schedule. We can come up with other ways that you can be involved as a family. And then 40% of educators have difficulty finding time to deal with the parents. They're like, yeah, I like the parents, but I can't set up for them. I don't want to deal with them. I've got way too much work to do. And so our solution for that is, how can we help you make it regular, have set times, have set roles? And what VolunteerSpot does is take the whole scheduling and reminding parents out of the equation. So what we do is we work on whatever platform the school is using, the parents are using. We're completely mobile compatible. And we make it very easy for anybody to schedule, sign up, and remind volunteers. The parents never need a password, so the teacher or who's ever organizing the activities has the account with the password. Everybody else just gets a link. They can come in. It's either coded directly to their email address, or they can go in through a public link. Facebook sign-on's coming in a matter of weeks. And what's cool about it is, again, there's no passwords for parent or volunteers, and we work with whatever platform the school is using. So our links show up in Facebook, they show up in Edmodo, they show up on Blackboard, they show up in just whatever platform you're using. Our links can simplify the scheduling process. And so what we do is we have group pages. These are some of the new things we have. This lets a teacher put all of her various signups on one page. That's her page, and soon this will be embeddable on your blog or website. So this is a teacher that keeps wish list items, so parents can sign up to donate stuff, and you can also collect money through the site. Then she's got math breakfast and journal helpers and a fall party and a food festival and a Polar Express party. And so all of these different things that she wants parents to help with. I don't see reading stations up here in parent-teacher conferences, but I think those would be great things to add too. And she can keep this page, and at any time parents can see what's full, where help is still needed, and what they can do. So in lower grades, tons of classroom readers, classroom helpers, parent-teacher conferences, science fairs, field days coming up. We're powering field days around the country. We have, just to give you a sense of scale, we have 10 million volunteer spots full right now. We have 4 million users on the site, which is super exciting. We launched out of Boston, 4.5 years ago. Recess supervisors, library and cafeteria helpers, all that PTA stuff. That's what we do in lower grades. And then in upper grades, what we help a lot with is more coordination, and this is where we see the students actually using VolunteerSpot. So exam proctor scheduling, lots of clubs. So like your Rocket Club, if you need you need volunteers to organize your big rocket event or your big trip. That's the kind of thing we're organizing in high school. Lots of concession stand, booster club stuff also in high schools. Study groups, class presentations, whose turn it is to give the presentation on what day. We get all of that organized for you, and we send the reminders so people actually remember when it's their turn. And we sync to whatever calendar people are using as well. And so go ahead and try a demo at Volunteer Spot. If you go and sign up an account at volunteerspot.com, GTS, stands for Got the Spot, you'll get a free upgrade. So we don't really want to make money off of teachers, so teachers are all free. If you go to this site, we'll be at ISTE this summer. So volunteerspot.com/GTS will give you a free upgrade, which will give you all our extra features, will give you assistant organizers and multiple group pages and things like that. And we're just really thrilled that we've grown grassroots. I mean, we've grown teacher to teacher, mom to mom, team to team, school to school. We just launched a school-wide platform because our users were asking for it. They're like, hey, we love you so much. We want to go every teacher everywhere in the classroom now. We're like, all right, how can we do that? The other thing we do a lot of is service learning in high schools and in universities, because we also track volunteer service hours. And that's really important for folks that need those things for graduation or entry. And that's a really big part of our business. And it's not just school-based. We do a lot of get out the vote work. We work with nonprofits around the country, or around the world actually, organizing all of their good works. And so anybody that has to organize people and doesn't want to send out a big old reply all email or put together a Google spreadsheet, we do it really easy. We make it easy to do the shifts. What shifts, what do you need people to sign up to do or bring, and we'll help make your good works fast. That's what we do. We also have huge Pinterest community. If you're looking for new tech ideas or field day ideas or resources to share with your parents, we do a lot of integration with the parent side. So if you're looking for, gee, it's my parent-teacher conference is coming up and I want to educate the parents on how to be ready, we've got tools to help you do that. Our Facebook community is very, very active. Our talking about score is something like 50%, 30 to 50% at any given time, and most communities are really lucky to have a 1% talking about score. But follow us on Facebook. We have tons of giveaways for teachers. That we're funded by brands that want to reach parents who care about education and want to reach teachers. And so Carson Velosa, for example, right now is giving away a $5,000 vacation. So it's always good stuff that the teachers and parent community would like. And then Room Mom Spot is for lower grades for Room Mom resources. And that's what we have. Any questions, you guys?
Yeah. Is there a Room Dad Spot?
I know. It's clearly it's all for SEO purposes. Yeah, we know dads are room parents too, but they don't search for that. We need to get found.
What kind of technology is your platform built on?
We're built on Rails on the back end, and we have a few different front ends, which we're in the process of transitioning to. And I'm not a technical person, so I can't answer that question exactly.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
So I'm thinking this would be really great for my son's Montessori school. How much would it be, how do I sell it or even tell them about it? Does it cost money for the
Totally free,
to get it?
totally free. Any teacher, any room parent, any parent, like say you're in charge of organizing the snack schedule for Montessori.
Yeah.
You just go to Volunteer Spot, you set it up, you get a link, you give it to you pass it out to the group. Anybody can use us. But yeah, just let them know about us. Thanks.
So you mentioned that you are an organically grown company.
Yes.
I think that's something that in education it's kind of like that's what we would want to be able to do. So how did you as an organization like settle yourselves around that idea and what were like the helpful ways that ended up working?
So organically grown by budgetary constraints. As we started, we're funded now out of FFBC out of New York. But we started at a time when social media was generally new. We started 4.5 years ago. And in the land of the blind, what is it, the one-eyed man is king? So we use social media to really start to grow our audience. And we were very active in the parent blogger community. And because we were 6 months ahead of everybody else, we started doing webinars on Pinterest for your PTA, or how to use Facebook for your nonprofit, or building parent connections through social media, and really sort of claiming that space for us and being very active on Facebook and Twitter, trying to speak at conferences. And we kind of claimed the social media side, but along the way we would talk about parent engagement and the tool that we were using. The other thing that makes us incredibly viral is we are very useful. So when you use us, we save you hours and hours of time. The amount of feedback and positive feedback we get on a daily basis is just awe-inspiring of all the great work people are doing that we're making easier for them. And they tell all their friends. So our tool is one-to-many. Every organizer is going to bring with them an average of 33 users. I mean, some are 300 people if you're organizing a school carnival, or 3,000 if you're organizing a race, 30 if it's a classroom, or 15. And then from there, those volunteers are going to spin up into being an organizer, because in parent world or teacher world, it's always your turn next, right? You're going to be tagged. It's a matter of when you're the committee chair, or when even you're in charge of the potluck. We do tons of potlucks, and end of year potlucks, and end of year celebrations, and picnics, and that kind of stuff. We help organize as well. So you don't get that 200 hot dogs, no buns. That's what we prevent. Yeah.
How do you reach out to the teachers? I mean, should the school management support, or?
So how do we reach out to teachers? We come to stuff like this. We try to talk to as many groups as we can, and teachers kind of find us and share us. We don't have the budget to reach out to teachers. It's very expensive to market directly to teachers. But we try to get people to tell their friends and try to get them to use us. But what we found is the more people that use us and love us, the more they've come to us and said, how do we get to our whole school? And our new campus plan, it's $99 a year, and it gives you a seat, 150 premium upgrades for the whole school, and gives you communication packages for the whole school.
I'll say from a teacher perspective, one person uses it and emails the whole campus and says the usability of this is so much better than anything else, do it. And that's what happened on our campus 3 years ago. So it wasn't long after Dell got started, somebody emailed everyone and said, try this one, and now we all use it.
Thank you. Yeah.
What about Spanish language?
Coming. Yeah, localization is a challenge because we're not a content site. It's very easy to translate a content site, but all of our signups are unique, and you've got tons of user-generated content. But what we do find is we're used in school districts that have a very high ESL language, ESL population in the Bay Area. It might be Spanish, might be Chinese, might be 17 other languages. But what we find is that the interface is so basic and simple that you need minimal, as a volunteer, you need very minimal language skills to be able to sign up and figure out what's going on. As an organizer, you definitely need the English skills. What an organizer can do, though, is say that you have primarily Spanish population, they can put in English and in Spanish what they want people to sign up for. So it's not translated completely, but it's there for their audience, and that flexibility is in there. We found out we had a bloom in the Czech Republic when we had a Ruby on Rails upgrade, and all of a sudden we had all of these support tickets coming from the Czech Republic because the special characters got wonked in the upgrade, and we had no idea they were using us. I mean, we saw a little pluck on Google, but we had no idea that we had all of these big events coming up in the Czech Republic that they were using their character set through the system. So localization's coming. It's on the roadmap for sure. Yeah.
I have to say, from a parent perspective, it's super easy too.
Awesome!
Instead of having to fill out the form and send it into the teacher and have them send you back something, it's like 2 seconds at your desk while you're at work. You can be like, okay, I'll do Friday, lunch, period, done.
Done. And here's the secret: working parents actually out-volunteer non-working parents. 3 to 1, actually, national. So we make it easy for very busy parents to also get involved because it can take a small bite and know they're going to be there.
All right, are you going to stick around, Karen?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, you guys. Volunteerspot.com/GTS for your free upgrade, and take a demo. There's a demo button. You can see how it works. Thanks.
All right. Okay. You ready? I think we're just going to roll right into the next presentation. Following that, we'll do the lightning round. So is the lightning round sheet somewhere? don't know where it is. If it hasn't made it around to you yet and you need it, call for it so we can get it.
Last person.
Gas is over here.
My seat is what it is.
Geraldine, what do you need? And then are you going to navigate it?
I just really the only thing I need to do is one that we can. I did email you just like a contact slide that's in your email.
Yeah, I'll pull it up and I'll have that. You need. I actually did it as a dual monitor.
Oh yeah.
Is that okay? Are you going to need to control it to slide?
I just need to actually click on a couple things. So maybe can you maybe click on the.
So what you see is what they see. Yeah. Alright. Okay, so next up, our last presentation for the evening. So Geraldine is working with Culture Booster, and I met Geraldine a few months ago, I guess, at 1776's Challenge Cup. And we had a really great conversation. We talked about the product. And I really thought it was a really cool idea. And honestly, I see so many connections between what Volunteer Spot does, what the students from the main engineering program are doing, and what Culture Booster is going to do. So with that, Geraldine, take it away.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, guys. And yes, it's pretty uncanny kind of listening to all the presentations and going, I can help with that. I can help with that. So I'd love to connect with a lot of people in the room afterwards. But as Sean said, we're Culture Booster. It's essentially what we do is we use crowdfunding to teach kids in grades 4 through 12 how to have the successful mindset for work. So whether their work is school or whether their work is business or whether their work is an idea, we're basically helping give them the tools to work in teams and to do things like build rockets and send them hopefully halfway to the moon, if not all the way to the moon. Or in the case of a few campaigns that have just gone up, we are brand new, so we're really excited that these are our initial campaigns going up right now. We've got 3, we've got 6 more that are getting ready to launch towards the end of the school year here. So they've been using, really our service is a curriculum with all the activities, lesson plans. It's a multimedia platform behind the scenes, and then a crowdfunding platform that's built actually for the kids. So teachers can register for free. They get all of the materials for free, and it's really just a matter, I actually am here not so much with the presentation and more with some questions for you guys, because we are definitely in startup mode and we're kind of digging around to try to make sure that what we're creating is relevant for people. So I want to show you a couple of these things, and then maybe I can ask you a few questions, and if anybody can enlighten me, that would be great. But to give you an idea, we do have some great partnerships already. Girl Scouts has already tapped us to help them with some workshops for getting the girls their badges and their patches. And that's really exciting because they're the world's largest volunteer service group for youth. So obviously a wonderful brand to be connected with. The Planet Foundation has actually provided us with some material from John Mackey's Conscious Capitalism, so we're teaching kids about that. We've got digital citizenship as part of the program. We cover an awful lot of areas. I was talking with Vishna about math teaks. We actually, the program is built and it covers all 6 of the upcoming mandated finance teaks for 5th grade math teachers, and I'm hoping to see maybe for 8th grade teachers as well. So there are a lot of things that we're trying to get right to really make it easy for people to adopt this. But some of the questions I have, I guess, are related to who are we going to be really valuable to. I'll show you just a couple of these pages. When somebody comes in here, they can register just right here. And then they are basically going to come to a page where it's a simple login and a registration. They get a free account. And then they can actually put up a campaign for themselves. This one actually went live just about 2 hours ago, so they've got no money yet, but they're very ambitious and they want to take everybody to Japan. This is a private school, and these kids have actually written, directed, and produced this video. It's a 2-minute media video. They learn basically scripting, editing, video production. They learn kind of the way to put messages together, so it's all about media fluency, which is really important as a 21st century skill now. They're also learning how to be digital citizens, so they are starting to use social media. We have a few of these built into the system, as you can see here. And then, of course, writing is so important and math is so important, so they have to carve out their message. And they do this message in a way that they're going to be using it across various media. So they use it for their video script, they use it for their description here, they use it for email campaigns, they'll use it for flyers, posters, letters even. We actually have another campaign which is really exciting. Today's Wednesday, right? Friday, we've got somebody from the press is coming down to see these guys who are doing very well. These are 8 and 9-year-olds, and they did exactly the same thing. They built this whole video for themselves. I'm not going to show you guys the video, but it's really cute, so if you want to play it after, please visit the site. They wrote all this, and this one paragraph you wouldn't believe, but it took about 2 hours for them to just put it together. It's tough, but they did it, and they're so proud of it, and you can see the results from just following the steps in the curriculum. They're really close, and in fact, just a little statistic about crowdfunding for the Mainer folk. If you can get up to 15 to 20% of your funds raised within the first 72 hours of a crowdfunding campaign, statistically speaking, you're really very likely to actually succeed if you've got like a 30 or a 40-day campaign. So these guys actually got 20% in the first 2 hours because they were, I don't know if anybody has an 8 or a 9-year-old in the room, but they could be real gung-ho salesmen. So, you know, mom and dad were definitely getting their skirts tugged that day. But another real important piece that we do is we take the kids through not just figuring out how much money they want to raise, but we take them through a series of exercises so they understand what's realistic, because everybody wants to raise money. Everybody has a need for money. But if it's not grounded in reality, and if it's not budgeted and really checked and surveyed and monitored and kind of, you get the idea of bounce back and forth off of different people who might in fact be your supporters, it's really not grounded in reality. So that's the very first thing that there's a whole series of exercises and activities we go through that are a lot of fun for the kids that we take them through for that. Second piece of that are the building blocks to get to that total number. We've got these different rewards here, and these guys were really quite capitalistic, actually. They really didn't want to have too much overhead, and so they looked into all kinds of different products, and when they realized that t-shirts were going to cost them $12, but they could only really charge $20 because their school already had a market on some t-shirts, and they didn't want to really compete and overprice themselves. They realized that to only take home $8 for every $20 that comes in is not really going to get them to their goal of $500 as fast as they needed it. So that's why they put together a bundle with another set of original products, and that's why they also decided we're just going to be a factory and make a whole bunch of paintings and sell original artwork. And then one kid said, I really want to make a thank you card, and another girl said, yeah, but we got to make it better than just a boring old card. And she said, what about a pop-up card? And they all got really excited and decided that was worth an extra $5 instead of the minimum 10. It's
valuable in the outfit.
It's valuable. That pop-up is everything, right? So, and they surveyed. It wasn't just them who thought that. So they went out and they asked people, would you pay this much for an original card that is a little bit different than just like a Hallmark card or just a plain old kid-made card? And people said, yeah, you know, I'd be curious to see that. So there's a lot of this kind of feedback that goes into programming. And I hope that gives you guys a good idea about it. It's very kid-friendly. Really, the login is for an adult mentor, and the whole idea is that the kids can put together all of the components. Obviously, if it's a high school class, they probably have a little more savvy about how to use the website, and so they can be the ones to actually upload the campaign and hit launch, which is what happened with Skybridge. But I really have, well, I have a lot of questions, but I'll try to keep it to 3, if I may. So my next thought is 5th grade math teachers, anybody who's got these finance teaks that are coming down the pipe for fall 2014, but I don't know, other than those kinds of teachers, who else this might be really useful for. And I say that and ask that, but at the same time, we've talked to so many different people, social studies, science, all across the board, all ages. We originally started this for middle and high school, and then were surprised when elementary schools really were upset that they didn't have a program that they could use. So we've been beta testing in the spring for that. But I don't know in terms of implementation versus usefulness to people who might find a project-based learning. If you guys have some ideas about other project-based learning classrooms that might find this really useful.
I know in my school that they have a TT teacher who sort of pushes into lots of the classrooms, and she's the first person I thought of, like, because our school is very departmentalized and they don't do a lot of cross-curriculum stuff, but a GT person can do that. So she'd be the perfect person for this.
Okay.
There's financial literacy teams coming up for all the grades.
For all of them?
For a lot of grades, yeah.
Okay.
The school I worked at, the environmental science kids were building aquaponics to take to Africa, and they needed to raise money. And the school was a little hesitant to let them do Kickstarter because of just, safety reasons and stuff. But I think that if they could find that there was a real kid-friendly, kid-safe kind of program, I think that would be something that they would totally jump on board for.
That sounds great. And we had somebody up in Michigan ask us about exactly that kind of a project. They struggled with implementation because they didn't know who they could tap on for that. So one of our ideas has been to try to maybe even make like a group license where different teachers can team teach this, but I don't know how practical that is in reality, because it's hard enough to get people out of the classroom to talk to one another when they've got all these other things that they have to get done. So I don't know if you guys have any thoughts about that.
Have you thought about youth groups?
Yes, actually, we last Saturday we were here. We've got one of the campaigns that's about to go live is for Latinitas. It's a nonprofit that is basically teaching young Latina girls and girls of color how to deal with body image in the media and how to actually take different media and kind of become the master of that. So they have a magazine and they do like live webinars and different things.
Also like church organizations and churches.
I haven't thought about that. Okay.
Okay. A lot of those, groups
for mission
go out and
groups.
do mission work and do things like that, and they probably need lots of funds for that.
Okay.
And I'm really excited that Girl Scouts, as a Girl Scout leader, I'm kind of bummed that one of these napkins is taking 9 girls to London and Paris. That would be nice.
Oh. Next year.
I sold a lot of cookies instead.
Next year.
Could you? Go ahead. Oh, a lot of schools probably already, I know that we already have service learning that we already do, and we're not really raising money for ourselves, we raise money for other people. So
Exactly.
you could probably teach your students into projects that they already have going on. And it's an easier way to get donations from parents and things like that.
Exactly.
Well,
actually,
add up all the money yourself.
That's exactly what this was designed for. Like these guys, it's all about service learning for them because they're at a technical school, and it's a very young school, and they had this horrible problem of tripling over the course of 1 year, and so they ended up having an internet issue for the kids. They have to kind of cap the internet because it was built for one classroom, and they ended up having 3.5 classes. And so
for STEM school.
Yeah, so these guys are like, well, we're going to solve this problem for our school. So it's great. The director's really pleased because they've got some money coming in now to be able to address this for the fall. So it's great. Service learning is great, but I'm not sure who the actual person is who heads that up. And again, would that be one person? And then would the implementation be hard for that one person to take on a whole course? So I guess that leads kind of into another question for me. Do you guys think the better avenue for us, because we really are two things in one, is to focus more on the educational curriculum piece or to focus more on the crowdfunding piece? Because it really is a hybrid of both for schools on purpose, but we're finding people are picking and choosing.
Wasn't crowdfunding really just a tool to enable you to get what you're trying to get?
Yep.
I mean, as far as your priorities, I mean, whatever may come next, as far as the next iteration of this platform, maybe just focusing on as a tool, and maybe conceptually continue to refine the mission.
The education.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to stay restricted to the education sector? Like, why not using it as a tool for, to your point, about connecting venture capitalists with startup companies?
That's not really our mission. Yeah. Okay. The whole mission. There are like 550 crowdfunding platforms out there, and it's a flooded market. And we want a niche. And I came from education before, and I have a son, and the problem we were really trying to focus on is that project-based learning is not happening as much as it really can in schools. And so this was a way to kind of address some issues for teachers, some issues for administrators, and some issues for the kids all in one, and kind of like Volunteer Spot is doing. They're galvanizing the community. They're bringing them together, because so far, up till now, everybody's realized it's a problem that people are siloed, but they don't necessarily have the tools. Are still catching up to people, and people are catching up to the tools for that.
Can I pigtail on top of that question for a moment? What about, is this strictly for individual investors, crowdfunders, or could you market to companies like my company, for example, whose initiatives are involved with education and children? I'm not going to volunteer us officially, but we would probably be interested in a way to put money forward or toward, an kid-related education cause, and to a minimum benefit, meaning advertising or whatever it may be, ROI. Does that make sense? My question or my inquiry?
I think so. Okay. I think so. I'm. If I've understood correctly, I think I'm hearing that would be possibly like a matching fund, or that could be. Just support in terms of another resource.
Right, like not just individuals, but a whole, like, what if Whole Foods, for example, wanted to come in and say, we will put, not even matching, but we want to put $5,000 or whatever toward this educational initiative, this project, brand it somehow. I don't know, are you into that, or again, is that too much?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question, because we thought about that a few months back of basically going to corporate sponsors and helping with workforce development issues for them, because a lot of the stuff that we're teaching here is all of that glue, 21st century skills. It seems to be so, losing the word, but it seems to be so elusive. That's it, for how to get it into kids' heads and how to, ironically, I lost the word.
Okay, can we do one last question and then questions to follow?
I'm just curious, building on the sponsor idea, if the sponsor could come up with a curriculum package that they sponsor, so maybe it's Whole Foods giving away garden grants or healthy eating grants up to X dollars. You have to fundraise, they put in the first $200 for ones that get through the process for the first X number of schools. But then they're helping promote it through their channels. The teachers can get the curriculum through their channel, which they already have those kind of tentacles and outreach, but then you become the platform to help them with that curriculum piece.
Yes, we have actually thought about doing that for STEM, for all of that. Exactly, Home Depot, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, thank you.
Google does, whatever. Yeah.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah.
Okay, last question.
If I just wondered if you are, so actually two questions. For the students who have used the project learning, you guys have a pipeline system that follow up these high school students when they graduate. Are they implementing a lot of these learning or the method when they go college?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then my second question is actually related to what I'm doing right now. I'm a graduate assistant at UT Austin. We have 2 big UGS classes, undergraduate studies, and we use project-based learning. So every year we have 400 incoming freshmen from high school, and they have no idea, but they were kind of thrown into this project-based learning and doing projects that have a capstone every year. And if you are, I was wondering if you're planning to reach to the higher education space rather than just K-12. And I feel if we're doing something like work training directly related, we should start with our college students rather than training, going beyond directly to companies.
Let's talk afterwards. You can check out the curriculum, beat it up. Somebody told us that we thought we wrote it for middle and high school, and somebody said, well, it could also be used for community college and so. I tested it. No, the limit is definitely 4th grade. So yeah. After that, they just want to go out and play on the swing. So thank you guys very much. Again, my name is Geraldine. I'm Culture Booster. You can follow me at Culture Boost on Twitter, and love to talk to you all. Thanks.
Okay, so thank you so much to our presenters. Thank you to Temp for sponsoring with Wonder Lab. Make sure that you check them all out. I do have the the lightning round sheet, so we're going to do the lightning round. 1 minute to speak about whatever it is that interests you or that you want to share with the group. If it would take longer than that, then you should come and present at one of the meetups. And so send us a message, let us know if you're interested. We're still working on programming for May and June. Actually May, June, and July. We have Startup Weekend for Education is tentatively scheduled for the end of July. And we're working on building that out. It's going to be really awesome, so we'll have more to come at next month's meetup. But we will try and keep you posted on all the awesome stuff happening. I've looked through the list. It looks like there's a number of folks on here who are looking for jobs, looking to hire people, which is really awesome. We also have a jobs board on edtechaustin.com. It is basic. It's a really basic site right now. It's a Google spreadsheet, right?
It's like you will fill out a Google form, and it'll go to the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Please.
So that's kind of like our stopgap measure, just to have a place for you all if you want to find folks. And I'll tweet about it once we have like our first job posting, because we don't have one right now. We do have a job posting. All right. So I'll be sharing that out. I'm going to add all of these lightning round companies, organizations, folks into the blog post to follow up. So you can check it all out there. I promised Mohammed that he could go first, so you're up first. So if you are a lightning round participant, if you want to just come up here, we'll start a line going this way, and you can just go down the line. You don't necessarily have to follow what's on here.
You still want us to come up if we're looking to hire someone?
Yeah, absolutely. Still talk about the people you want to hire. That's really cool. I just wanted to throw that out there.
All right, guys. My name is Mohammed. I'm with MakerSquare. And MakerSquare is the program that takes adults with relatively no coding experience and turns them into junior developers in about 12 weeks. And we actually have a few MakerSquare students here right now. But the reason I'm here is to tell you about our new kids initiative, which is Hatch. And Hatch, Drew and I have been working on for the past couple months. And we're reaching kids in 2 ways. The first is through an after-school weekend program. The second is we're also talking with a couple schools to create some curriculum for next year. But what I want to tell you guys about are 2 events for the after-school program that are coming up. The first is a 90-minute workshop on May 17th. This is for 10-ish plus year olds. And what we do is we spend the 90 minutes teaching them the fundamentals of HTML and CSS, and also some exercises covering computational thinking. So just a nice soft intro to generate some passion for kids in computer science. The second is a 2-day hackathon. This is on May 24th and 25th from noon to noon. This is for generally high school students. We're co-sponsoring this with Code Day. And these guys are high school students coming in, and they create really robust, awesome projects by the end of the second day. Would love for you guys, if you know anyone that has kids that want to come to either the workshop on the 17th or the hackathon on the 24th and 25th. Would love to talk to you guys about what we're doing and more information about what we're up to.
Great, thank you so much. I actually want to give a shout out to Hatch. It's amazing. MakerSquare
is amazing and Hatch is like amazing to the power of 2, so definitely check it out. I'm here representing today in this space Austin Achieve Public Schools, which is in its second year of serving students on the east side of Austin. We are a free, tuition-free, open enrollment public charter school that's trying to target a community need and really innovate and build a program from the ground up with the community. So I'm here today because just an example, it's EdTech Meetup in EdTech Austin. We have a 1-to-1 iPad to student ratio, and our teachers have been able to push that to the boundary limits. We have a course where students are basically introducing programming through Hopscotch and other apps as part of their fluency, and other teachers have used the iPad to do entire like research, writing, and delivery modules. So we're really trying to innovate and push the boundaries. We're also hiring. So if there's anyone in the audience who would love an opportunity to come check us out, even our in-house development director said, man, I've got this grant, I'd love to spend money on a maker's lab if only I had a science teacher capable of doing something with it. So we have a lot of possibility and potential. You can feel free to reach out to me at talent@austinachieve.org. We're hiring 6th through 8th grade right now because we're growing from 6th through 12th. We're also hiring some leadership roles and a few other things. And we have a robust after-school space for programming and all kinds of innovative type work and programs. So I won't be here long, I apologize, but grab me and or visit talent@austinachieve.org or visit austinachieve.org/careers. All right, thank you so much.
Hey everyone, so I've been the guy that's been sneezing over the past hour, so apologies for that, allergy season's pretty bad. So my name is Julian and I'm here with Real Good Apps. My team is actually with Michael, Chris, and Sean over here. And our startup is basically a big IP bank. If you have an idea but don't necessarily have the business know-how to do so, come to us and go forward with it. So our business is made up of 2 components. One, a product pipeline of our own, and second, third-party consulting. So the product pipeline, we're looking for a developer and another co-founder to come basically round up our team. So if that's interested and you're doing it and really good ideas, really should check us out. And then for third-party consulting, we've just landed our first consulting client, and that's in EdTech. So one reason we're here today is that if you need any business consulting or anything related to that, you can talk to any one of us, and we'll really be, if you're interested, we'll definitely talk to you about that. So if you want to reach out to us, you can. I think Michael's not going to be here for too long, but Chris, Sean, and I will be here obviously for quite a while. And if you want to reach out, email. Our website is realgoodapps.info, but the website isn't really fleshed out. So come talk to me right afterwards, and I'll get you my personal email so that we can flesh things out. Thanks, guys.
Hey guys, my name is Andrew Stevens. I work for Viopta Inc. It is a cloud-based applications and solutions software company. And that's a long explanation for basically saying we make education useful, or video useful for education. Our company has a lot of customers in universities specifically around the world. And we're looking to hire people to deploy and to build the software applications to make education and video helpful. So if you're interested in that type of work, please come speak to me after. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Clarissa Simmons. I'm with Sapling Learning. We're currently hiring a bunch of positions. I'm here to advocate for one of them. We're hiring what we call program managers. These are a lot like product owners or product managers if you're used to software, but this is on the content and educational space. The one I'm really looking for right now is a math program manager that'll help us figure out how we can best empower math educators and engage math students in high school and higher ed. Our ideal math program manager will have both program management and math education experience, but we know sometimes that's a unicorn to find. So someone who's really talented and dedicated into either of them would still be very, very considered. So if you're interested, go to saplinglearning.com, click We're Hiring at the bottom of the page, and it's currently the top posting because we reposted it to get some more presence, so there's tons of other jobs there. And we're right here in Austin, we're actually just across the street. So if you like this part of town, come work for us on the 4th floor. Thank you.
There's free parking.
Or we'll pay you if you don't want your spot.
My name is Carl Settles. I'm the founder of E4Youth. We work with creative students to expose them to the commercial creative arts, so advertising, media production. We worked with a group of students this past spring that were able to go through 48 hours of hands-on training and earn access to South by Southwest. and actually covered South by Southwest. And now we're getting ready to do a summer job shadow program where the students are able to shadow creative professionals for 4 2-hour sessions. We're also offering resume support, a mock interview, and opportunities to showcase their work. In addition to those students that have already been in the program, they have scholarships to the program. We're also offering scholarships based on teacher recommendations, and then other folks can pay. So, but it's really a great opportunity. The companies that we work that we'll be shadowing at are GSD&M, McGarrett Jesse, Sanders Wingo, and Liaison Resources. They do work for work like the Radio Shack commercial you saw at Super Bowl, Shiner Bach, Costa sunglasses. So some really top-notch folks. Great opportunity. If you're interested, look us up at e4youth.org. And that's it. Thank you. Cool.
Hello, my name is JC Sanders, and I'm Education Specialist at Region 13 Education Service Center, besides the Girl Scout leader. And I have developed some math flashcards that I would like to turn into an app. So right now they're paper-based and they're strategy-based, so it's not memorization of our math flashcards, but it's actually teaching students strategies and flexible thinking in their math. So I'm looking for an app developer. If you are an app developer, come see me.
Cool. Oh, one last amazing.
I had to run to the restroom. Sorry about that. I don't have a product or a job for anyone. I have an idea. What I'm really interested in is project-based learning, constructivism, constructionism, inquiry-based learning, problem-based learning, and the maker movement. And I'd really like to see a stronger connection between the two, especially in formal ed. I think that there's a lot of things in informal ed with the maker movement and so forth. So what I've been doing is I work with UTeach, which is a secondary STEM teacher preparation program at UT, and this has been more of a hobby. So at the Maker Fair, Austin Mini Maker Fair Saturday, hopefully everyone's coming anyway, May 3rd at the Travis County Expo Center, there's going to be a ton of cool educator oriented items. There's a whole Maker Ed area. There's going to be an educator's lounge with some free stuff. I got some TI launch pads and some other things, so come and get those. And if you bring your ID, if you're an educator, if you have your school ID, you get in free. What I'm looking to do after this is collecting a lot of emails, trying to get a group together to talk and think about this a little more. Hopefully, grand vision is to do a makerspace for education. So if someone was talking about that earlier, that sounds really awesome. That's the idea. Hope to see you all at the Maker Fair. And my name is Mike DeGraff. If you want to find it.
So with that, again, thank you guys so much for coming tonight. Thanks for all of you who stood in the back. I promise I'm going to work on getting a bigger space for us, which I'm very happy to do. So thanks again for coming. Feel free to hang out, but we do have to leave by 9. So.